Welcome back, G-Fighters, to GameCast's definitive destination for all things Dragon Ball. This is issue 6 of G-Fighters. My name is Sully, and today I'm joined by your other regular co-host, Mark. How are you today, Mark?
I'm good. We're surprised we've done 6. Oh, we've done 5.
This is the 6, but as you said, technically 7 with that unofficial movie-length Dragon Ball episode.
Movie length that is longer than most of the Dragon Ball movies.
Yeah, that's very true. It contains our top 5 Dragon Ball moments, though. So if you haven't seen that and you want an epic, I'm going to call it a G-Fighters podcast because that's technically what it is. Predates that. Go check it out. You can see our top 5 moments for all things Dragon Ball. So there's some cool little gems in there. Today, though, Mark, we have a short little news roundup for the gang. We have some Switch Fighters news, good and bad, maybe we'll just have to unpack that and see what unfolds, or at least wait and see regarding that. We have some interesting fan animation that is bringing comics to the VR space, and we have some pretty big Dragon Ball Broly Super news. But first, Mark, do you want to kick us off with our video game news?
Yep. So as we've slowly been unpacking for the last few weeks, Dragon Ball FighterZ Switch is coming out this month, end of the month, and every single week there's been some sort of little thing that's been hinted at or revealed with its upcoming release, even though we already know the main content in it. But this week, or more the weekend, they announced the actual editions of the game. Just a couple weeks out of release, download only, so no physical versions.
Oh man, that's disappointing.
Like there will be a physical release, but it won't have like any of the extra content in it.
Oh, gotcha.
You have to pre-download the one with the season pass if you want.
That's
that
silly, considering the Switch's storage.
Yep. So anyway, there'll be 3 editions. There's the base one that you can download or purchase in a store. Then there's, I think it's the Fighters edition, and then the Ultimate Fighters edition. And basically, the Fighters edition comes with the season pass preloaded, a few lobby avatars, Vegeta Blue already unlocked, so you don't need to go through the hassle of unlocking them, and just all those other bits and bobs that they had originally. Then the Ultimate Fighters pack has the season pass plus anime soundtrack pack plus,
that's cool.
I think is the commentator voice pack. So it's got some tracks from Super as well as the original Chala Head Chala.
Oh yeah,
that you can fight to.
Nice, I like that.
Which is pretty awesome.
I like that a lot.
Classic. But it wasn't necessarily anything like too surprising. Like you could see some of that stuff coming, and we had those sorts of editions with the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. The issue is that the game's releasing at the same time as the latest DLC pack with Cooler and Mystery Fighter, who's most likely Android 17, but they still won't confirm it. Even though it's releasing at the exact same time, them announcing these editions confirms that the Switch version will just be the base game. It won't have any of the DLC fighters up till this point in the game. You actually have to pay for them. Which is a bit annoying because like the game came out January, and the Switch version's coming out September. We were kind of hoping that the Switch version would sort of be the definitive year one purchase.
What are they called? The repack versions, the deluxe or something like that.
Yeah. So like people are hoping that like we'd get it, especially since it just so happens to overlap at the exact same time. So it's a bit of a shame. They did confirm that we will be getting a season 2 of DLC. So next year's going to be packed full of most likely Tournament of Power characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just like a thing of, gonna need, if you already bought it on PS4 or something like that, you might not be inclined to get the season pass on this one because you might as well just play it on your other console. But then again, Switch portability is a huge thing. And the Switch does offer 1v1 mode and 2v2 mode, which the other versions don't include, but may with an update, but they haven't said anything yet.
Yeah, it's unusual for the Switch version to include that feature as well. Like, it's just a strange feature all round that changes up the mechanics.
Yeah, it changes it up entirely. They're doing, I think you can do 3v3, but each person can play one of those three with a Joy-Con.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So you can just yell, you can just go like, "Oh, I'm going to tag in now," and things like that, which is like a crazy, crazy active party game.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and so we'll see if the PS4, Xbox One, and all that get that as a patch, because I can see people getting really amped up for it.
Has there been any news regarding whether or not the previous DLC that's come between January and the launch of the Switch version will actually eventually hit the Switch?
I think it's going to be released at the exact same time.
Okay, but it's
pretty much.
We have
So it might be like all available right then and there.
Gotcha.
But you still need to pay for it.
But there's
because they said the pricing was, I think it was $5 per character.
Okay, right. I see. All right, so a little bit disappointing that we're not getting it all rolled in as a deluxe edition of sorts, but what can you do? At least we're getting it. Cool. All right. Anything else further regarding the Switch release?
It better be good.
Fair call. All right, let's move on. Mark, a Dragon Ball fan who goes by the name of Goro Fujita has actually created a VR comic strip of Dragon Ball. What did you think? This is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome proof of concept, as sort of like interacting with media in a completely different way. Sort of like, it reminds me of the original Iron Man movie, how that was like the first time you sort of saw like those interactive holograms of an imaginary future. Like that's the feeling that I got when I was looking at the manga. It was like, oh, like you could see it and interact with it in a sense of like walking around the environment and seeing the model.
Now, I'll have the comic strip that he created on screen in the panels. It's really cool, though. So, obviously, he's created the famous Piccolo scene where he's protecting Gohan when Nappa's, unleashing his blast. We've got a scene of young Gohan in some kind of peril, and Krillin, I'm not sure what he's doing. He's kind of freaking out on all fours.
But he's doing the Krillin thing.
He's doing the Krillin thing. He's probably about to get owned. It's really cool, though. I don't own a VR headset other than my Samsung Gear. I'm yet to check it out in Samsung Gear. But what I could see on just my phone, it's pretty cool. Like, you can it's got a lot of depth. It's not flat. It looks alive. There's a lot of movement and motion, and you can kind of rotate around the panel a little bit and see slightly different angles. It's kind of like, it might sound silly, but it's like when you're looking at the Tarzos that have that kind of 2D transition effect.
Yeah.
The holographic or whatever it's called, the effect.
The right term. Yeah, I remember holographic Tarzos. That's what it was.
That's what it's like, but with motion. It's really cool. Now, Mark, you were actually saying you've checked out some comics in VR before.
Yeah, so this isn't exactly unheard of. They've been testing it out before. It's like still just a proof of concept thing. They've been doing it as a few of them were like animated comics where you sort of like, for this one, you see like the 3D models and you can move around, and so it makes it look more actiony and it seems like it's in motion. The sort of animated comics, slightly similar idea, except there's like the background will have motion while it transitions to the next panel.
Yeah, it's cool.
And so it's less depth in terms of like moving around the environment, but more like it's moving, it's up, you can like get into it. The like voice panels are like subtitles and things like that. So it's a little more bridging that gap between reading and watching.
Yeah, it's really cool. I would to be honest, I would totally read comics in VR. Is that something that you would do, having tried it before?
I'd be up for it, especially since I'm trying to learn how to draw.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to like get a sense of character angles and depth a bit better.
Yeah,
because like in this footage, when you saw like them going around the panels, like from some angles looked amazing, especially Piccolo. But Gohan, his body sort of looks a little awkward depending on which angle you're looking at.
Yeah, his hair went a little bit strange towards the back, didn't it?
Yeah, and like that's one of those things where it's drawn that way and meant to be viewed from a specific thing. But if you start making, say, manga specifically in VR, you might see that change.
No, I dig it. I want to see more. Hopefully, somebody with a skill set or the license gets onto this, because this is awesome. I love it. I'd love to check more anime, manga, and comics out in VR. That would be so cool. Moving along to our final bit of news for this week, though, we have some Broly Super news. Now, I'm giving a spoiler warning because this is technically a fairly hefty, decent spoiler, so you've been warned. It's regarding the final battle of the Broly movie, and it came from the mouth of the CG producers and directors on the movie. They went into detail regarding that battle, so we now know that battle was taking place in another dimension. I think it was another realm. No, dimension/realm. And that basically the majority of that battle, at least the surroundings, is going to be CG. And a lot of the characters are going to be CG as well. They did, however, state that they're using as they always state, a blend of CG and traditional animation to bring you the final impressive results. And they also went into detail regarding the free reign they got with CG. The directors and producers that are handling it all were basically told to go insane. So I don't know what this all means, Mark. I'm cautiously optimistic, which I'm kind of surprised about based off our conversation we had a couple of weeks back.
I mean, like, the way you said that, you didn't sound optimistic. You said it like cautiously cautious.
Yeah, very cautiously optimistic. I have hope because they're amping it up a lot that this is going to be a very spectacular battle and setting and piece of animation. So I'm cautiously optimistic. Regarding kind of the background and, the space they create for them to fight in, I think that'll probably look fantastic. The only thing I've always been concerned about with CG animation is the character models themselves and how it blends with the 2D traditional animation. That's my only concern. And hopefully they don't go, it sounds like they are, but hopefully they don't go too overboard with the CG. Unless it looks amazing. If it looks amazing, then fine. If I can't tell, fine. If it looks amazing, I'm all for it. But yeah, as I said, cautiously optimistic. What are your thoughts on this, Mark?
Yeah, like when we were discussing it a few episodes ago, I was more for CG if it's blended well, and like I said, I thought it was blended well in the little snippet that we saw. But that only works in short bursts for me. I'm similar to you. I'm cool with environments being CG. That's perfectly fine because you can get a better sense of scale. Most of the time they're static. Characters can bounce off them and interact with them a lot better. But if you're planning to use that entire sequence, say 10-15 minute fight, depending on how epic and climactic this thing is, all CG, it's going to look awkward.
Yeah.
And like, I'm a bit worried about that. I know that our like CG enduring technology's gotten a lot better, and I know there's a lot of money like being thrown at this. But sometimes CG, even though it's the more expensive and cool option, it's not necessarily the better option. Like, don't know if you've ever seen it, but anyone who's watching will understand when I say Berserk 2016 anime. Yeah, that's not a good example of CG.
No.
Especially when the actual 2D animation when they used it is incredible. And so it's one of those things where the cheaper, more time-consuming and better option is 2D, and I'm worried, depending on how much of CG they use. It's a delicate balance, and I don't want them to screw it up.
And obviously it's still a developing tool set. However, having said that, I'm cautiously optimistic because I feel like they wouldn't be using heavy CG for the climactic final of this movie if it wasn't on point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because like if they did it like Battle of the Gods, where it was only for like that one underground section, pretty much, or like the start of the fight, you're like, okay, well, it's only there for that chunk. it's not there for like the final part, or when they do use it for the final part, it's like the energy ball and things like that. That's a bit better. So hopefully, if it is, like, we've improved since then and they blend it well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just one of those things we won't know until.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we view it and it leaves us like blown away, rather than finishing the movie leaving a bit of a sour visual taste in our mouth. That's such a weird sentence. But like I said, I feel like based on the interview they had with the producer and director, or producers and artists, it sounds like it's the entire, background and backdrops is all going to be CGI, and it will be a blend of traditional meets CG. So we'll see. We'll keep you guys posted if there's any new developments regarding other interviews with the producers, directors, or whoever is involved with the movie. And again, the movie is dropping in December and January for Western regions. So I'm excited. We'll wait and see. And that pretty much wraps up this week's news. So let's move on into our break, and we'll see you guys on the other side for our Dragon Ball Z Abridged Part 3 discussion. Welcome back, G-Fighters. As stated, before we cut to our break, we are chatting about the final part of this season's abridged episode. So this is part 3 of episode 60. It dropped on the weekend. I highly recommend checking out if you haven't already, because it wraps it up nicely. What were your thoughts on it, Mark?
Like, when I came in watching it, it still had the weight of expectation of, I thought this was the end. Like they weren't going to do any more abridged. Which spoiler alert, they will, but we don't know exactly when.
Yes, season 4 is confirmed.
Because the way that this whole episode was structured and flowed was like it was a goodbye for now sort of thing. Like a lot of characters sort of had their sort of goodbye-ish thing, but it wasn't like the end. Like Goku has a speech in it and things like that, and it's like it was emotional up till like the very end where they said, "Oh yeah, by the way."
Do you think that's typical TFS style to like lead us on like that, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, nah, by the way," then they just pull it out?
Yeah, absolutely. I was half expecting it by the time I realized there was a credit sequence.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, they're probably going to do something
after credit scene." Yeah, totally. I mean, it was either that or they kind of produced the episode and they were just like, this isn't right, we have to do more. Like when they were finally finished, they were like, no, we need to do more, and they just decided on a whim, all right, we're doing it. They could have entirely done that. Like,
yeah. Because the announcement was just like a static screen, pretty much.
Absolutely. So all in all, though, a good 3-part episode, almost a movie length. Part 60 or episode 60 was, to wrap it all up.
Yeah, each one was like 18, 19 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't mind season 4 being this format. Maybe longer episodes, but less episodes in total. Because it was a nice little thing to look forward to every weekend. It was like I was getting a fresh episode of Dragon Ball, like a whole episode.
You break them up into chunks that are like scheduled.
Yeah, it was nice. I really enjoyed it. What were your favorite gags, Mark?
Again, like this whole thing, sense of finality and things like that. It was nice for them to wrap up jokes or like sort of like reference some of the older stuff. Like the Gohan, when he was struggling with Cell, and he says, "I'm gonna eat that horse," because there's like just one moment when I think it was when they were trying to get Gohan to go Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
Where Goku said, "When you fall off that horse, you get back up on that horse and you eat that horse. Come eat that horse with me, Gohan."
Oh, so many throwback jokes.
Then when they finished it, he said, "Horse eaten."
Oh,
I feel like crowning achievement in terms of wrapping up jokes was the Krillin owned count.
oh, dude. Yep. Right. That was an after credit scene as well.
Yeah.
So good. That was hilarious. I hope everybody watched till after the credits.
Yeah. But it's funny because how last week you said that I called what would happen for like the second part. I was talking to someone the other day, just before this episode came out, and it's like they said, "Oh, Krillin's gonna have a win count." I said, "Oh, I think it'd be funnier if his count went down."
You called it again.
And then I was watching the episode. I was like, "Fuck! I wish I recorded that."
Do you just love it how his blast just fires off? And didn't it reveal something, or was it just the what did it do?
I think it broke into the season 4.
Oh, did it?
Announcement.
So his
because the
his
own count went
climax.
down,
Yeah.
and then there was a break for another credit sequence, and then there was
Lovely.
Climax, and then season 4.
Revealed season 4, Krillin's climax. Oh, I love it, man.
And that's funny because like they used Krillin's climax similar to how they did Vegeta's
Yeah.
like ages ago.
Yep. Yeah. That's great.
What was standout for you?
To be honest, the very start of the episode when Cell returns and he blasts.
Wait, he said, "Oh, that was meant for Tien."
He shoots down Trunks. He's like, that was meant for Tien. And then I think, what was it? Krillin says something, and then he's just like, "Oh, shut up, Yamcha." And he's just like, I can't tell any of you apart anymore.
Yeah.
And then, of course, my absolute takeaway for the episode. For me, the whole episode was like in the first couple of minutes was Vegeta's rage moment where he's just like, "My baby boy," and he just takes off.
Because it could have gone either way because of the way they've been structuring abridged. Vegeta and Trunks' relationship is not really there. Like it's just it's hate. It's not love hate or love.
Yeah.
And so it's like that particular moment in the original was emotional because Vegeta was starting to get a bond with Trunks and things like that. But it's like here, you're like, what's he gonna do?
And then he just takes off.
My baby boy.
And then you have Piccolo after the fight, and he's like, "Don't worry, Vegeta, we'll revive your baby boy." Just the sass, man. The sass.
And then, like, I lost it in the episode when they do the little farewell, and Vegeta just flips off Trunks. Trunks smiles and flips him off, and then Vegeta smiles.
Yeah. Oh man, really was a good send off, wasn't it? It was a good episode. Oh, and the Dende moments were pretty funny as well.
Dende went like full into Gohan. Like I knew he always had a crush. But...
Oh yeah, it got a little bit creepy, and he invites Piccolo to stay with him just to lure Gohan up.
Yeah, I liked it with they met, like Mr. Popo had a very small moment, but still a beautiful moment.
Yep.
But it's like they said, "Who makes the rules?" They go, "Me. Those rules are really fair."
Yeah, it's just like I do. Oh, Mark, let's try and rank these parts. How does it all break down for you?
I feel like they started the strongest in part 1.
Yeah.
But like I feel like a lot of it was the hype leading up to it and things like that. But it just felt well paced and structured, like a regular separate abridged episode.
Yep.
Part 2 felt like it was still strong, but it wasn't as strong. It was more like parts of it felt like it was just filling in time for the finale because we knew what the finale was. But weirdly enough, the finale wasn't as strong as the others either. They pretty much went 1, 2, 3 in terms of top to bottom.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
But like even though 3's like strong and everything like that, I felt like it was very fast for that first half.
It was, because we were speculating like whether or not the bulk of the episode would be the Kamehameha verse-off.
Yeah.
But there was actually half the episode, or a good, maybe even more than half the episode, was actually the DBZ saga wrap-up of that saga, which is just, reviving everybody, saying goodbye to Trunks, Goku in Otherworld, telling everyone why he's not coming back. They did flounder around in that area a lot, which I was quite surprised about. And I know there's not a lot of content that you can necessarily produce from that Kamehameha verse-off scene, but they actually cut quite a bit out still. Because in the anime, that was a whole episode, that segment. And if you remember, Vegeta uses his final flash, and then everybody else jumps in to help Gohan as well. That was completely removed. You know, Vegeta throws his flash, then that gives Gohan his window of opportunity, and then it's over.
But it's also like the lead up to the Kamehameha. It was like, it felt like Super Perfect Cell shows up and it was like, all right, I'm doing this, and Kamehameha.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't like there's a little bit of a fight before or anything like that. It's just like, it felt like Cell as a character up till this point is in love with his own voice and loves monologuing and things like that and structures his jokes. It felt a little bit out of character for what the abridged Cell was.
Yeah.
In terms of how the rest of the episode unfolded. Although, the actual finale of Cell was amazing.
Yeah.
Where he starts singing My Way. and it felt like a send-off to him.
Yep. And it wasn't even sad. You just felt happy. Like, it was just reliving his life. His life was flashing before his eyes. It was fun. Yeah. It was really good. It was a good wrap up. But I completely agree with you. 1, 2, 3 in that order. Yeah, I mean, the second half of this episode had some funny gags, but, you know, it just felt like fluff almost. It could have been like a few minutes shorter. Where do you think we're going to go next, though, in season 4? Obviously, we're going to the Boo arc, but do you think we're going to get like the filler arc as well? Like, where
I hope we get the filler arc.
Yeah, because that's a sizable filler arc, and it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, because you've got to do great Saiyaman stuff. You've got to do it. You've got to have wussy adult Gohan, and him in high school trying to impress Fidel and stuff like that. Maybe like have sitcom music from like some of those teen dramas on like Nickelodeon and stuff like that.
That would be good.
Like make it this whole very, very stupid thing.
And don't forget the Otherworld tournament as well.
Yeah, in the Otherworld tournament where Goku turns Super Duper Saiyan.
Yeah, like you got a 2 to 3 episodes of Abridged right there. Like that would be cool.
And I'm hoping that from here on they maintain the names that they've been doing, like Super Duper Saiyan. and if they use the name that Vegeta said, where he said, "I'll be a Super D Super Saiyan," for like Super Saiyan 3 or Majin or something, like name it something stupid.
Yeah.
Or they might say like Majin's product placement for Macca's or something.
That'd be good. I'd love it. And hopefully they continue Krillin's owned count too. That'd be great. So yeah, obviously we'll get the Boo arc. Do you reckon we're going to get it next year though? Do you reckon we'll get anything next year?
I think we might get a little bit next year.
Because it makes me wonder whether them having picked up the production of finishing this, you know, because it kind of felt like they were finishing it just because they kind of owed themselves to do it and they owed the fans to do it. But I don't know if that necessarily means they're just going to continue production, just period, on getting the rest done, or if now they're going to take a break and put it on the back burner again.
I wouldn't be surprised if we might, like, say, get an introductory thing into season 4, or they might just do like a movie next year.
Yeah, dude, could you imagine?
Because there's still movies to do.
Yeah, that's true. Could you imagine if we just had part 1 next week?
That'd be funny.
We'll keep
like jokes. We were actually working on this the entire time.
Yeah, no joke, and they finished it all. Yes, if we get another part next week, we're putting Lord Slug on the back burner again.
Poor Lord Slug.
Yeah, no joke. Any final thoughts, Mark, before we wrap it up?
I really liked it in the abridged Goku's sort of like farewell to the series.
Yeah,
like
that was actually
arc.
good. Yeah,
because like it meant a lot, and like his reasoning was actually sound. Felt like it's like, the androids are here because of me. Frieza came to Earth because of me, and things like that. I was like,
yeah, things were made because of me.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, Goku, you suck. And it's like, and also Goku when he said, look, you're stronger than all of us. Like right now.
Yeah.
It's like
it's so true. Yeah. Dude, could you imagine if they started doing Super as well?
I'd love them to do Super, but like I feel like if they're going to do Z, they're gonna do Z, but I don't know if they'll do Super.
It's a whole
They might do the movies.
Yeah.
But
I feel like
there's a lot there in Super.
There's another can of worms as well. Like, that's fresh. Like, I'm sure Toei would not appreciate that being reused so soon.
And there are so many more characters. Like, imagine trying to do the Tournament of Power.
Oh my god.
Unless they rushed it like super fast. Like, it's immediately down to the top 10.
Dude, they actually did the Tournament of Power in 42 minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That would be
like do it in real time.
Real time? That would be fun. All right, let's wrap it up. So as I stated previously, we'll be returning to Lord Slug in our next episode of G-Fighterz, assuming we don't get any more abridged content this coming weekend, which we believe that will be the case. We suspect we won't see it for quite some time. So expect Lord Slug in the next issue. Having said that, we are taking a 2-week break from G-Fighterz just to catch our breath and catch up on some other projects. So we're pulling a full-on TFS on you guys, but we will return in 2 weeks with issue 6 and Lord Slug. Let us know what you think down below. What did you think of the final wrap-up for this saga? Are you looking forward to Season 4? When do you think we'll get Season 4? And as well, let us know what you thought of all the news that we covered this week as well. Thanks for watching, guys. And remember, if you've been listening to us on streaming services such as iTunes and SoundCloud, be sure to come over and check out our YouTube channel, GameCast, where you'll find a variety of other content in the form of news, reviews, and opinion pieces and other bits and bobs that are fantastic. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next issue of G-Fighterz. Have a good one.